What's up, guys? This is Past the Pop Culture, and we are going to be talking about some interesting topics today. I don't even know, like that. We're going to talk about Dune. We're going to talk about apparently this rumored Warner Brothers game where it's going to be a Smash-style fighting game, multiverse game. It's rumored. I guess it is in development, kind of quote unquote confirmed. But of course, like the first leaks of it came up on Reddit, apparently. So, of course, it's reliable sources we got going on here on this show today. And then we're also going to be talking about that Uncharted trailer. And so that is going to be the video game movie adaptation, I guess, of the Uncharted series, if you can call it an adaptation.
Ouch. Okay.
Okay, because that's the first thing I want to talk about. There's a lot to talk about here. I am very upset. I was talking to my brother about this. I watched the trailer with him. Mm-hmm. We literally looked at each other and we're like, no, cancel the movie.
You think it was okay? You think it was that bad? Like, I don't.
It was bad, bro. It's gonna be like your generic action thriller.
Yeah,
like it's not gonna be bad in the sense of like it's going to like, ooh, explosions, cool. But like in terms of being faithful to like the source material, I don't know. I don't feel it. Like, I mean, I don't hate, Tom Holland's like character, but it's like, they should have, there's another actor they should have gone with. I forgot his name. It's like Nathan
Drake.
No, but yeah, he's like, his name's Nathan too,
Yeah.
but like, or something like that. I forgot. Like, I remember it was like a fan cast thing. Like, it's a super popular fan cast, and I think, yeah. But and so I was like, what the heck? Like, I thought they were using Tom Holland as first as kind of like a younger Drake.
I thought so too, yeah.
But no, he's Drake. And even, I remember like I was reading some article a while back where after they filmed, he was kind of saying like he doesn't know if he gave a great performance on that. He feels like he could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
So I already knew from then like it was not.
What do you say? I remember us talking about that. He said something like he was too focused on trying to be like a macho man and didn't necessarily care about his acting for whatever reason.
Yeah, and like he was trying to put like this level of swagger into it. He was trying,
and I remember us specifically saying it's like that is going to be a terrible movie just because he said that.
Yeah,
like for the main man to himself. I don't know, and I think it's kind of true.
Like he's already like admitted, and then what's his name, Mark Wahlberg, and like I was like, what happened to his mustache?
They CGI'd it out.
they pulled the Superman on him. That's basically what they did. But like, because he had a mustache, and they kind of made him look older, and then they got rid of that. I mean, I thought he looked kind of ridiculous in that. I mean, they could have just gone an older actor. I don't know why they went with Mark Wahlberg. I think my opinion on it is that they believe that the Uncharted franchise wouldn't hold up enough to get people to go to the theaters to watch it, so they had to get like some big blockbuster name, and so maybe that's why they cast it like that. But I was just like, what the heck? Like I was like, I don't know. Like, I mean, what's your theory on like what's going on here?
Okay, so it kind of not necessarily changed because I did see it like on my computer, and I was like, okay, this movie looks kind of lackluster. And then I saw it in the movie theater, with like the big speakers, XD and all that. And like after watching it and just like seeing how they looked on the big screen where they're supposed to be, it's like it missed the mark like big time. Like I cringed.
Yeah.
Like I can't see Tom Holland. Like Tom Holland, sorry, without sounding too offensive, his voice is not macho.
Well, I think because he normally plays like teenage characters.
Yeah, he doesn't.
And
he does not.
That's where he shines. Yeah. Like I think as Spider-Man, like a convincing like voice,
100%
like, and all
fine.
that stuff. I think it's fine, but like it's like I don't expect him to sound like Rambo.
Yeah,
but it's gonna.
But he didn't have like that tough guy.
Yeah, and
treasure
I don't know what
man.
It was. Like it didn't. Yeah, get Brandon Fraser. Get him on the phone.
Hey, if it was Brandon Fraser, honestly,
when he was young, especially. Like, man, that would have been...
Everyone would see that movie just because it's Brandon Fraser. But, see, Brandon Fraser. Actually, he's gonna be in Batgirl, apparently.
Oh, really? That's
But
cool.
no, so what I was thinking is like, okay, it's Tom Holland. It's gonna be like the Robert Pattinson thing again, because we only see Tom Holland as Spider-Man, and I have
Mm-hmm.
seen a movie. I can't remember what it's called. It's like something something devil. It was on Netflix. I don't know if you heard of it
Oh, like the Devil in the Detail
or
or
something like that with his
something like
sister.
that.
And
Yeah.
Robert Pattinson's in that movie too. But in that movie, he plays like the brother, or whatever. And like he was pretty good in that, but it's very hard to separate him from like his what he's known for, Spider Man.
His Spider-Man persona. I know,
Yeah.
and that's so hard. And honestly, like, cause to kind of relay that with like Dune, I felt like they had so much star power in the movie for Dune. I felt like, cause like, well, you had Tom Holland, Zendaya, Jason Momoa, and like, you know, like, oh, I can't remember his name, the father. He
Oscar,
was in Star
Oscar,
Wars.
yeah, Oscar.
Yes, yeah. And so like I felt like they're pretty big names. And I felt like part of me is like it's hard for me to like remove Jason Momoa from Aquaman. And so so
Okay.
I feel like there is that kind of
He
crossover. I think
shaved,
that
so he's not Aquaman.
yeah, I was kind of weird watching the movie when I was like,
It's like he's
why
got
does
chunky
his face
face.
look weird? I was like, oh, he doesn't have his beard. I'm like, put that thing back on, dude. Like, come on. I feel like 80% of his like masculinity was in that beard, man. Like but it's a sick
No, I
beard,
agree,
that's
I
why.
agree,
He has
yeah.
a sick beard. It's a good beard. Like you know what I mean? Like so it's like it just elevates him. Like he still looks like a super cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's still like, you know, whatever he is, 6'3", 6'4", like 200 plus
Yeah.
pounds of just muscle. So it's like,
Beast.
you know, he's not really lacking, I wouldn't say, but
Put
just the
that thing
beard brings
back
it
on.
that extra level. But to go back to the Uncharted trailer thing, man, like, yeah, I was really confused. I was like, wait, is this Uncharted 1?
Mm-hmm.
No, this is Uncharted 3. Oh, okay. Oh, no, is this 4 because of his brother? Oh, like, and it was like, man, like, I was so confused. Like, like, I was because in the trailer, and if of course anybody who's listened to this, I'm pretty sure they've seen the trailer. So if you guys all remember, like the scene where they have it's the iconic scene from Uncharted 3. They always showed up in the trailer where it's like the plane opens up and
Oh,
they're
yeah,
falling
yeah,
and they're
yeah,
free
yeah.
falling with all the cargo and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's like 3 right there, and I was like, oh, like I thought they were like going for like number 3, which I thought was kind of weird, but then it just seems like it's a culmination of like every game, which I wouldn't have done because it's like you're fitting. I don't know how long the games are, but like 30 plus
A lot of lore.
hours per game
Yeah.
into 1 2.5 hour movie. Like and that's tough, man. Like and like because even like because I'm a huge fan of the Uncharted series, like because I grew up playing that series, like that, like. I got my PlayStation 3 with Uncharted. Like, my dad bought me a PlayStation 3 because he saw the Uncharted game, and he's like, that's so sick. And then I was like, I needed it.
That's cool.
And then I was like, okay, well, if you save up, I'll buy you the game. And so that's what I did. So, like, I have a deep connection to, like, the game series, and, like, I've played all the games and really like it. So, and to kind of see them, like, you know, tear my boy apart like
Yeah.
this.
Say, how do you feel?
Yeah. Makes me very sad.
I don't know. Because like we all thought he was gonna be like the younger Nathan Drake, right? Like the prequels. But
I thought, yeah, it was gonna be like some Uncharted 3 kind of thing where it's like, oh, you see him as like a kid, being as like a
Yeah.
thief and stuff like that before Sully picked him up. But then it's like, oh, well, Sully picks him up, and it's like, okay, so is that kind of like that in between time where he was still learning? And so I don't know, like what everything is kind of going on here. I saw a comment where he was basically like, it was like that someone just saw like the name, watched a few minutes of gameplay and was like, oh, okay, I get it. And then they made a movie. And it was like, you know, it's like,
yeah, that's so accurate. That it makes me sad.
yeah. It's like they just watched some like stream of it and then like, you know, a couple of like minutes and they're like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
well, like, they
Googled
fast-forwarded.
it, and then they're just like, oh, okay, I get it.
Here's the
Like,
bad
no,
guy.
'cause-
Here's his brother.
Yeah.
Here's what he does. Airplane.
Because especially like the first 2 Uncharted's, like they're such like rich in story and stuff like that. Like it's kind of cool. Like and the environment and stuff like that. Like I didn't really feel like adventure, like treasure hunting vibes.
It
like
just
how
felt
the
like a
game-
basic movie.
Yeah, it just felt like, oh, it's an action blockbuster. Like that's what it felt like they're going for more rather than doing a faithful adaptation.
Yeah.
And I think it's more like, okay, we're going back to like video game movies being kind of mediocre again. Like we got a decent thing with like Mortal Kombat And like Sonic, even though that was kind of like a tough one at the beginning when they first released him, they redid it, and it was actually a decent movie. It was
Can
like
they
but I
redo
wouldn't call.
Uncharted still?
And then yeah, like
It
and
comes out
so
like in a
yeah,
month.
yeah. So it kind of made me sad.
Do you think you would be more open to the idea if they kind of said like, all right, this is like Uncharted 1, like the game, and here's the movie for number 1, and then number 2, number 3, and then number 4, or whatever? Or do you think it would
Yeah,
just not?
like a straight adaptation,
Yeah, yeah,
basically.
yeah.
Because even doing a straight adaptation, it's like how do you fit or how do you fit like a whole entire game, dozens of hours long into 2.5 hours? Like that's the tough part with making video games movies. And so because there are different mediums, and so it's like just going from like comic book to anime, very tough jump. There's a lot of people that work just to make sure the character designs and how they look and how they feel, and they have to essentially create a new work.
Yeah.
Just to an adaptation of something that's already been created. So it's amazing. Like there's a lot of work, and like I don't know how much time someone actually spent going, okay, these are the characters, what are they like, who they are, and then I don't know, it just felt kind of I felt more like a cash grab, I think.
It is
than anything. So I don't know what's like your full complete thoughts on it, but like what's your prediction?
I think it's not gonna be. I think it's gonna be like a very average, like 5 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10 movie. Because it's like I do like the games, not as much as you, but I do respect them. And it's like if you go watch this movie, it's not gonna feel like the video games. And it's like the casting is a little weird. I mean, they are good actors, but it's like, can they necessarily change the movie just because they're good actors? Not really. I don't think so. And it's like Uncharted does have that kind of like heart and like personality. And it's like I don't see Nathan Drake as Tom Holland. I don't see Sully as
and that's the thing. Like it's no shade. Like he's a good actor.
Yeah, it doesn't
right.
seem right. I don't know. It's like if they can make, I don't know. I'm optimistic as usual, so it's like maybe Tom Holland can pull it off. But if he himself said he's too macho for the movie,
he's a little,
and he's
like,
scared that his acting wasn't as like up to par, and then maybe they should kind of either redo the movie.
I had a tough time recognizing who the characters were. Like whereas Elena, I'm not sure like who's supposed to be Elena or Chloe or like I think it was like that girl.
The bad guy. Who's the bad guy? Like I know the actor, but
I don't know. He's kind of like generic villain, and the trailer like because I'd have to watch it again and like pick through everything. Like I'm thinking it's gonna have kind of like that Uncharted 2 where it's like they're trying to stop him from getting like the it's like that blue thing. I haven't played it in so long, but yeah, and so like I think it's gonna be something like maybe. Or going back to Uncharted 1 where like they had like those zombie looking things where I don't remember the name of them, but maybe they're doing something like that or they're just doing something original.
Well, we don't know, right?
Yeah, and I don't know, like it kind of confused me a little bit. Like I don't know, it's like because you have cool characters. I mean, Nathan Drake's iconic, especially for PlayStation. And so to kind of butcher him kind of feels kind of sad, but
yeah, especially because PlayStation like, put their name on the movie too, like it's a credit. So
yeah, like what do they expect? Yeah, like, and I don't know. It's we're gonna have the Mario movie, man. So let's see how that goes.
That's what I'm saying. It's like like maybe again we could be 100% wrong. Maybe this movie is really good, in terms of like Warcraft good or something, but. And then the Mario movie with like Chris Pratt and all those weird casting is like, what is going on with Hollywood? It's like I don't.
Yeah, and that's
did
my
they
thing,
not
like,
know they're okay? So I do want to talk about Dune a lot, but
yeah, because Dune, you seem to have like a pretty good passion for it when you watched it. It seems like you were pretty excited for that.
Did you like it?
I liked it. As the idea of it being a trilogy or whatever they planned on doing, I forgot what it was. But as a standalone movie, it was a little like what? Like
okay, yeah, I can see that. I can respect
it as a standalone movie, kind of poor in the sense where they're just like, oh, okay, let's go, and then they cut it, and it's like, hold on, like what? And knowing that there's gonna be more movies is fine because like it said part 1, and I was like, wait. And I was like, where's the Dune like thing? Like, does it say part 1 this whole time? And I never read the little subtitle thing.
I don't think it did, right?
But it's always was just Dune, and I thought it was just a straight one movie adaptation until I saw some article that was like, oh, there's apparently multiple movies or something that going to be made. We don't know when the next one's going to be.
It's in pre-production.
When my thoughts is that as a whole, the series is going to be seen as like something great. People are really going to like it as a whole. I think this one, as itself, like if they were not to make any more movies, I'd just be like, what the heck? Like,
okay.
In terms of like how much we actually did, or so. Like, I kind of felt like it was kind of just like a weird way to end the movie. I mean, I understand it.
Kind of like a 2.5 hour teaser trailer for part 2.
yeah. I guess that's the best way to put it. Like,
I guess.
And so, but I don't know. I want you to give your more opinion on this because you seem to be a little bit more.
Well, because I posted it was a 9 out of 10 on Facebook, and our uncle said that it was adequate, and I was just basically the same scenes for 3 hours, and of course I got offended. But I really did enjoy this movie, and I think, biased opinion here, that if you saw it in XD with like the sound and like the atmosphere of like how good because did you see it? Did you see it on your TV or did you see it on like a theater?
I saw it on my TV, but no, it looks beautiful like the whole time. Like it was really good shots and like really tight like action sequences.
Yeah,
but I did feel like wait. I want to go back to that. That's what I kind of felt like.
Because I know a lot of people who are saying this movie is like the best movie ever. They mention the words either XD or IMAX. And so I think what they did with the audio specifically is it did a lot to kind of put you into the movie. And like I think if you kind of didn't see the movie with the good, blah 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 blah, it might have kind of like lowered it, because there were times in the movie where it's like, man, I have so much anxiety because our chairs are like literally shaking when that like the worm comes out or whatever. And it's like that got you like really into it. And when they introduce certain characters in the movies, the soundtrack and like how it sounds like the sounds all around you, and again there's chairs shaking and blah blah blah, it's like holy cow, it's like I'm literally there. And I think that's kind of why people are starting to say this movie is like so good, because it felt like I was in the movie.
Yeah, I mean, no, I definitely get what you're saying. It's just like, because to me, it's like just watching it as like a standalone thing. I felt like, oh, that was kind of interesting. Because it did feel like it was a lot of pretty shots. It was a lot of cool scenes, a lot of like good audio, and like it seems like it was building like an interesting world and stuff. But I felt like it was a lot of like too much air, if that makes sense. And because I felt like it was more of an artsy movie. They were trying to make it an artsy movie rather than like, oh, it's a cool action movie, which is fine. I don't doesn't bother me none that they were going more for like an artsy movie. But the way that they were pitching it was like, oh, it's like this cool, like, it's basically Star Wars without the Star Wars tagline. Like I felt like they were almost selling it like that. And so I was just kind of like, well, I haven't seen the original adaptation. I'm not sure if you have.
Apparently it's
yeah, so I was like in the 1980s or so. So I mean I hear it's like more faithful and
to the
that
book,
there's to the book and that it's better than the 80s version. I don't know, I'd have to go and watch it.
I'm not gonna watch it.
It just kind of felt like it was a little weird trying to get into it, because I felt like some of it, like you did need to kind of read the book to get like a full grasp.
Of what was going on agree here. To that. Yeah.
And so
because I think if you are kind of like looking at it from like if it's just a part 1, then the movie can kind of suck, because there was a lot of questions and like literally no answers. Like why is his mom so special? Why is he so special? Who's the girl? Yeah. How does he know the other guy? Who are the bad guys? Who's that huge guy who can float? How can he float?
and I think like the main thing is like, because the way because I'm looking at it like how they kind of like posed it to the consumer, and then you're like, because I'm looking at it like more of a, hey, look, they made it try to look like, oh, there's Zendaya and there's Timothy and there's Jason Momoa and like there's all these really cool like actors
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
they made it almost seem like it was like Zendaya, Timothy, and Jason Momoa, like they were all
Like the main characters,
kind of
I
going
guess.
at the adventure
Yeah.
themselves, and
Yeah.
they didn't show the mom off a lot, but then she ended up being more important than Zendaya, who they were pushing a lot in this
That's true.
movie,
That's true.
or even Jason Momoa's character, who I mean he died honorably for the main character, but like it just made it seem like it's kind of like the three of them going against the world. And so I left me kind of like, wait, so the mom's more important, and I feel like that, like, well, they didn't really push her a lot in the trailers, so I felt like this was more to get people to. It was more like to sell tickets and to get people to watch it, rather than like. I don't want to say like it was false advertising, but I feel like the way that they pushed it in the trailer and stuff kind of misdirected us to like what we were our like expectations. It kind of like got that a little like it didn't hit the mark, and I can't really blame a trailer for
a sucky movie.
well, it's not a bad movie, but it just kind of like my expectations were a bit different. And I think that was the main thing. It's just that
because if you're expecting to see, I want to see Zendaya, whatever her name is, and Jason Momoa, and that's like, there's 5 minutes of them, and it's like, then you kind of watch the movie like, well, where are they?
I'm not someone who really watches a movie because of a specific actor. I like an actor, I'm like, oh, cool, he's in it, and then I go and watch the movie either way. It's like I'm not the type of person who like, oh, this actor's in it, now I go watch it. I know a lot of people are that way. I'm not that like into it. Like, I mean, because I don't even know who my like favorite actor is. Like, I have like favorites, I guess, in the same of like, oh, they think they're good, but not like like
Tom Hardy.
Yeah. So
interesting. So do you think your like how you feel about the movie is kind of like different just because you're expecting something else?
Yeah, I think definitely like my perceptions of what the movie was going to be versus like what it ended up being was a little warped, just because like the trailers and everything, they're like, because it was just like a few seconds of like Zendaya like moving around and like
looking all pretty with the blue eyes or whatever.
Yeah, and like look.
Interesting. Okay.
And then like what is his name, Paul or something like that?
Paul
in the
Duncan.
Movie? Paul. Yeah.
I don't know. I was like, this is like a sci-fi super future movie, and their name is Paul.
Well,
I don't know.
There's, I guess, because someone explained it like, well, they're still human, and by naming him Paul, it grounds us into our reality or something like that, and then something
but Paul
smarter than.
Ugh. Duncan. Anyways, that's very nitpicking.
Like they wanted to get that Dunkin' Donuts sponsor, but they know they couldn't, so they're like, darn it, change his name.
I mean, spices,
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, what did you think of the spice? Like, how it's like, it's how they
it's because the sand or something
universe. And so, like, what do you think of that, like, whole concept? I think because I kind of want to like dive deeper into like, what do you think of like the actual story elements instead of just being like, well, I kind of like
I do kind of like how they constructed everything, because I kind of like movies where it's like, man, what are they talking about? Or like, what are they? It kind of makes me want to like maybe go read the book or like Google what the heck who's this and this and this and this, like where the spice come from. And so like how they kind of portrayed the story of like, here's the possible Messiah, but he might not be the Messiah. And it's like, well, why is he the Messiah?
He's the Messiah.
Yeah. Like, why? And I mean, I have no complaints, to be honest. It's maybe because I was just too infatuated with the sound and the blah, 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 blah. But I did like how everything just kind of progressed naturally. Like, they're at their other planet. They come to this planet to, get the spices, whatever. Whoops, it was a trap. Who's the emperor? The only thing I didn't really understand was like the emperor and like the relationship between the emperor.
Oh, like the really big dude who like floated up.
Well, that's not he's a house.
You're talking about
like the
actual
head, like emperor.
Yeah. Did they show him off? I don't remember if
they only said his name. That's it.
They alluded to him, but they never actually showed us like who he was.
Yeah.
Because they were just like, oh, he's a jealous ruler and stuff like that.
Yeah, and it's like I kind of want to know
Who he is.
who he is, and like I know they kept mentioning like the houses, and it kind of reminded me of Game of Thrones, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
why is the house that Paul in, like why is like that one the most important one or whatever, and then like the Imperial,
Yeah.
like because the big floating guy, he was like the Imperials, I think. I
Yeah, he
can't
was
I
like the Imperium army. Like
yeah
he had like one of the biggest armies. Like he had like a planet and stuff.
yeah
But I did like because I do like political like movies in the sense where it's like, oh, they're doing this, we have to stop them from doing that, or
mm-hmm,
oh, they're making us look bad, we have to strike back, and so I do like that, like because it doesn't have to be just like an action sequence like every
mm-hmm,
single 2 seconds to like make my monkey brain happy. So like I do kind of like that cool stuff. Like when they
mm-hmm,
do that, like I do think that's more interesting at the end of the day.
mm-hmm.
So I felt like they were leaning into that, and then they're like, okay, lean into it, but they're like they didn't fully want to be like, well, they're like, well, we still got to have a cool sequence here and there. So
Yeah.
it's like I don't know if they wanted to fully commit to like the political aspect
Mm-hmm.
of it, because they were setting it up as like it's a political movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel like not enough politics played out, if that made sense. Because they
Yeah.
were like, oh, you met this guy, look, and then he spits, and then it's like, oh, it's disrespectful. It's like, oh no, it's a
That's a
cultural
funny
thing.
part.
Like I thought that was funny. Like, oh, but I want more of that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
or I want to learn like what are these? Like we have like these totally alien people. Like, what's their culture like? What are they
Mm-hmm.
doing? And you kind of got that, but I think like in a weird way, like the action or it kind of gets in the way of trying to like know who these people are a bit more, because it felt like when you had characters like coming and going, it was like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. Like, oh, what does he do? Oh, well, he's like dead already, so it's like we can't figure out like what's his culture, what's his group. And so it's like it's kind of like what what language are they speaking, the ancient
Yeah.
tongues, what are they? And so I mean it's really hard to do that in 2.5 hours, and hopefully they can do that in 2 to 3 movies or however many they decide to make.
Mm-hmm.
So we can get a fleshed out world, because it does seem interesting, and like
It looks
I don't
cool.
know, like yeah, it looks cool and everything, and like something that I kind of like. While some of the characters were maybe not as like 3-dimensional as others, something I did appreciate was like the I guess like the fatherly figures to the main character. Jason Momoa's character, and then he had his trainer, where he's like, oh, you must always be ready to fight and stuff like that, and then even the father himself, because it's like I felt like they were really cool, because they were like, sometimes I feel like in movies when they show like a fatherly figure, it's kind of like
Aggressive.
they don't write them very well.
Yeah.
Like they're like overly aggressive and like,
Yeah.
oh no, you're like nothing, and like
I'm
you know,
doing this
like
for
he's
you.
like yeah, and it's like, all right, buddy, like tone it down. Like
I do
like,
agree.
I like the father, because he was like he was how do I word it? Because sometimes when you make these movies like, oh, they're these super powerful like male figures, right? Like so he's the lord, right, of that fiefdom or whatever, and they didn't make him like this like super abusive father figure and like
Yeah.
super mean and like, oh no son, you're just here to like take my place and blah blah blah. Like it was like, no, I love you son, I want to protect you.
Yeah.
Like
You're all I ever
and, like,
wanted.
yeah, and so it's like, it was like, how do I word it? Like it wasn't like a mean like, oh, you have to do this. It's like,
Well, yeah,
oh,
like
no,
you said,
do-
it's refreshing, right? Because most movies, it's always like, oh, I'm doing this for you. Listen to what I say. I know what's best for you. Blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And over
and
here,
so
he's
it's
like, hey, if you don't want to be the king, all right.
and I felt like it made for a better like father son dynamics, so that when he does die, well, it makes it like, oh, he died for his son. And so like, because sometimes what happens, I feel like in these movies is like they make like the father kind of like this like harsh, like unobtainable figure to their family, and it's like that in every movie, and I can understand like why they would do that, but like it was kind of nice to be like, duty will call to you son, like great men don't choose to lead, they're called to it, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. And like he was actually like explaining to him like, you can be great, you will be great, not because I'm forcing you to, but it's calling to you. And because I feel like, just because like sometimes I feel like they have the father there just to force him to like
Yeah.
actually go into it, or you have like this whole dramatic scene like, no dad, I do what you say, and then it's like, it's like the same thing that gets recycled.
Yeah,
It
you're
was
supposed
just
to be
kinda
the main
refreshing.
character.
Yeah, it's like no, we all know he's the main character, he's gonna be the messiah. Like it just, the father was there to like enhance like, no, you are the chosen one kind of thing, because not just because you're my son, because it will call to you and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
it was cool because like even like the mother, like she has like some really cool powers, and she wasn't supposed to teach that to her son and stuff like that. Like it's like that like sisterhood or whatever that they
Yeah,
have.
you're supposed to have a
Like, I thought that
daughter
was,
and all that.
yeah, and like I thought like that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I'm like okay, like it kind of like is a little bit of subversion of like a lot of the stuff that you typically see
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to some like how the characters are typically written. So it was kind of nice, like oh wow, it's a little refreshing on how some of these characters are written.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did appreciate, was like they had like good, strong, like fatherly like figures for the characters that weren't just like these hyper aggressive like douchebags that were like
They're
forcing
realistic.
him to, yeah, like it's like oh no, like they're training him because he cares and that he has, not that he has to be, but like he's going to be a great man, that they're
Yeah.
trying to actually help him hone his skills and teaching him harsh lessons, but not being like, I don't know, like an abusive drunk dad towards him. It's like because
Yeah,
like it gets kind of like okay, like there's more than one type of way to write like a father figure, and I think like how they wrote it was kind of nice because it was like okay, like they weren't just like straight up abusive towards the characters, and I
Yeah.
feel like sometimes a lot of movies have like come into that trap where either the father figure is like just some doofus who doesn't know what to do and he's so dumb and has to be saved by everybody, or the father figure knows what he's doing but he's so harsh and cruel and mean, and it's like you only usually get either or sometimes. And so it was kind
never
of
a happy
refreshing, like
medium.
he's like a mixture of like he does the things he does because he knows he has to, like he knew he had to go to that kingdom or to that planet, he knows, like, and then he's like it's a death sentence now. And so it's very interesting, like because it showed like the people there, the natives, were like resisting and stuff. So I'm not sure if we're gonna get like a more look into like the Duke or whoever was there before. Like, so I'm not sure because they said like they took off, and I don't know, it seems like it's cool, like a lot of the stories like they have set up. So I'm looking forward to the second part. But yeah, like I'm still like healthily cautious, but like still slightly optimistic.
But you'll
like,
see it in XD, right?
I don't know, we'll see.
Oh my goodness. Okay, let's have that short debate. You don't think like how you watch, insert whatever here, like kind of matters, I guess? Like, do you think like your experience from watching, okay, again, like Dune, watching it on your TV with like mono speakers or whatever, and then going to like an XD or IMAX where it's like your chairs are shaking, like do you think that kind of like matters, I guess?
So you're basically framing it as like, does like the way you consume the media actually affect like how it's like how you perceive it, I guess, in a way? Like how do you like I think in a way it does. But it's just like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like a good movie is still going to be a good movie, whether or not the screen's small or big. I think the way that like you experience the movie is going to be different. I think like I'm still like same thing, like what's a good movie that I like? A Silent Voice. I watched A Silent Voice on my phone, still cried like a baby, right? Watched Your Lie in April on my laptop, cried like a baby, right? Like, so we're still super emotional. Had it been like I watched A Silent Voice in theaters or on a big screen and a monitor,
Would you have cried?
I would still cry because it's like but I don't know, like my response to like, I don't know how to word it, because I understand what you're saying, like, because when I watch something on a big screen, right, I think it's like you're able to get sucked in easier and stuff like that. So like I think like whether or not you watch it on a small screen or a big screen, it's still good. As in, the movie's still going to be good either way. If someone's like, no, you have to watch it on a big screen to enjoy the movie, it's more like, how do I word it? Like, they didn't work enough on sucking people into that world where it has to rely on those external factors. But definitely, like, the energy that you get from being in a movie theater, seeing everyone get hyped when Spider-Man shows up, or the Avengers are losing it, or, like, a main character dies or something like that, and everyone's shocked. And so it's like you do get to feed off of like other people's like energy when you're in a movie theater together. It's just sometimes it's just like it hasn't been happening recently, but like I've kind of had like a negative perception of movie theaters for a little bit, just because like you have people who bring like crying babies and like little kids, and then they're just like obnoxious, they're kicking your seat, and then so it's like you can't get to enjoy it. I love the theatrical experience of everything. Like I think and like having a digital or like versus like IMAX screen does enhance it, but I don't think like it's usually not enough for me to be like I have to get the IMAX experience. I have to get it. Like to
So
me,
you're
it's
saying
like,
if you could rent out the whole theater, you would do that every single time?
yeah, because it's more well, like it depends. Like I wouldn't just be there by myself because I feel like that'd be like weird.
Well, I know.
Like,
I mean, like you
but
bring
I know what you mean. Like
family or
we'd watch
whatever.
it. Like we should do that. Like subscribers or like stuff like that. Like
I would
we
love
should
that.
have it like where we rent like a movie theater out and like we all experience the movie theater
would
like
love
that.
that.
I think
Goals.
that'd be really cool.
Donate now.
Like that would be really awesome. So
Well, no,
but
I'm
yeah,
just asking because the director himself said like if you're gonna watch it like on HBO Max or whatever and compare it to theaters, it's like having what do you say? It's like having a speedboat in a small lake. So it's like it's still gonna be good.
I understand.
But-
Like I understand that line of thinking. Like because it makes sense, right? Because it's like when like you're. It's like when they say like food's better with company.
Yeah.
Like the food's gonna taste good. It's still good food, but being around friends and family
Like
and
the
good
atmosphere
company makes the
the food
meal that
better,
much
yeah.
better, right? And so it's like I think that's like the same thing. Like when it comes to these kind of like topics and stuff, like I wouldn't say one's right nor wrong, but I do agree. Like there is something lost going to the movie theaters versus just like watching it on your phone. Like there is something that's like lost there, and I don't know what it is. For me, I think it's mainly the experience that you share with other viewers while watching the movie. I think maybe that it is because it's like whenever we go watch a movie, we talk about it right after, and we're like, "Oh, did you see that?" and stuff. And so I think that enhances the movie going experience. But in terms of like convenience, yeah, like just watching it on your phone or your TV is like it's fine. But yeah, I think like if I don't see the jump from like XD to like just like a regular cinema screen like being that much of a difference for me in terms of like I've never walked out of a movie and been like, oh, I should have watched the XD version. And I
say
think
that
that's
all
the
the
main
time.
difference. like I don't walk out of the theater, but like what's your opinion on it more or less I should say about what we should do or how we should view?
I mean, it's personal opinion, but I like when it's loud and like I can hear the spaceships coming from behind me and like my seats are shaking and I don't know, but I mean I like audio, so it's like that's why I buy like a little bit more expensive headphones because I want to hear everything coming from me. Like if I'm gonna get scared and phasmophobia, I want to hear it from behind me, not like to my left and right. I don't know. That's how I've always been, and like I like seeing the spectacle. I guess I like the show. That's pretty much what I want, and that's like if like when we see when I saw Justice League on our theater, we went out and bought better speakers so it's a little bit better to hear and all that. Like even after we saw Dune, my dad's like, we got to get better speakers, and I'm like, I completely agree. But because I don't know.
So did you watch Dune in theaters or
yeah,
did
we
you
saw in XD and
yeah.
my dad flat out said he's like, man, that sounded so good, and he's like, why don't our speakers sound like that? So it's like I don't know. I like the audio. I would rather watch if I could every single time watch a movie like in XD compared
I
to like
understand
our
what
TV.
you're saying. I think it just comes down to like how I don't know how do I word it. Like the way you get sucked into the world is different than how I get sucked into the world. And I think like for you, the audio and the clarity and stuff plays a large role into how you get sent into the world. While for me, it's like I don't think I take as much, like in terms of like
you want the feelings.
To get sucked in. I think it's like I think for you, it's like the experience, and then me is more like the emotional response that I get from watching a movie.
But it's
I
like,
think
wouldn't
that's
it be
why.
more sad if you can like see their tears and like you can hear them crying from afar and like you hear the rain
Like looking
coming
on the
behind them?
screen, like what's going
Yeah,
on? What the
yeah. Like,
subtitles
are they
say?
crying?
No,
Is
no,
that rain?
yeah, I think some movies are like you have to watch it in theaters. I
Hmm.
think the average movie though, it's like just watch
Yeah.
it on your TV or phone. I would say that there's very rare movies that come around. Like I would have loved to seen us Your Name in theaters. I would have loved to seen it, but that was kind of like before I got into like anime very heavily
Hmm.
and that I even knew about it.
Hmm.
So I think, and then they released it like very limited, and I think I just barely missed it or something like that when that came out. And I was like, what? Oh man, like, so I think like I would have loved to seen that to get the theatrical experience of it.
Hmm.
I mean, I would have been a crying mess after that, but you know, it's kind of worth it.
Have
Like
you
to
ever
just
cried
go
in the
to the
movie
movie
theater?
theater.
It's kind of off topic, but
I've almost like when we were watching Demon Slayer, that one
okay, yeah,
almost
that's
got me
right. Yeah, that's
because I
right.
remember being like, I'm next to Fan, I can't just like
Yeah.
die right here.
I can like
And
barely see
like,
out of my eyes. I think I'm fine.
no, it's the reflection from my
Yeah,
glasses.
my glasses.
No,
I got smudges making me cry.
yeah, and like, there's been a few times like that I can recall where I'm like, dang, I was kind of close. Like when like same thing for like in Infinity War, you had Spider-Man's death scene. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, that was pretty
dang.
sad. Yeah.
Because I was in theaters and some girl started wailing and crying
Did
and
I
like,
see that with you?
no. No, we didn't see
Okay.
that together.
Okay.
And like some girl like was like crying like, oh my gosh, that movie was so good. They killed Spider-Man and this and that. And I was like,
I
dang,
love that.
that snapped me back to reality and like, all right, I don't look like that. So not what I
You
mean,
don't
but I'm
look
just
like
like,
that crying girl.
well, because like it's okay for her, but if you see some like dude like in his 20s crying like that, well, I wasn't even in 20s
You weren't
in my
even 20
20s then,
like
so
that.
I was like still like in high school, I think when that came out, Infinity
Oh
War.
man.
So it was like, yeah, you don't want to see some high school kid crying,
They
some
wouldn't
dude crying in the
since
theater.
since we're
Like
kind of like
getting
on
judged.
yeah, it's okay. I won't judge you. We all know you cry. In movies and video games. Have you actually cried in a video game?
Cried from a video game.
I have.
I want to say yes. I can't remember the instance. Oh, there we go. Mystery Dungeon. Mystery
Really?
Dungeon. Dude, when you're like, you have to say goodbye. And
Oh,
you're like,
that's
but you're my
right, at
only
the very
friend,
end. Oh
and,
my
like, but I've
gosh.
made so many friends along the way, and I want to continue being friends,
I
and
totally
like,
forgot about
I don't want to forget you and stuff like that. But I know you have to go back to your time, and like, and you're in like, I know you're not a Pokemon, but it's okay, like, stay, and there's been like a few other kind of
Oh
like
shoot. I think I cried in that one too.
light novel-y kind of stuff, like where I don't. It's not actual light novels. It's just kind of like they have like a lot of dialogue that I've been kind of like, dang.
I cried in
Like,
the
I think-
Spider-Man game.
Oh yeah,
I don't
which
know, have
one?
you- the most recent one.
Oh,
The one
okay, I was
from
like, wait, there's a lot of
yeah, not
there's a
Miles
lot of
Morales, the one
Spider-Man.
before that one.
Yeah,
Like, have you
yeah.
beat that game?
I don't think I beat it, but I kind of know what happens, like and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like I watched my brother play it and I
Okay,
played it
yeah.
a bit. But oh man,
I don't know why I cried.
there's this.
but-
There's been a few games where like they've tugged at the heartstrings a little bit, but like you see, because I think for movies and like anime and manga, it's easier for me to cry for something like that versus like a video game. I think like there's been a like because I don't really play like sad video games. I guess like a video game like the one that was like, oh dang, but that I think like when Uncharted ended, and I was like, dang, it's over. And it was more like I think what gets me more emotional response is like when I realize the series is over.
Yeah, when you're done.
And I play the game and I'm like, dang, like that's over now. Like
Yeah.
they're not. And then they go and make Uncharted movie trailer, and
And now you're happy.
I cried
And
for
you
the
cried
wrong
again.
reason because they murdered my boy, they massacred him.
Oh.
But no, like I think yeah, like I think it's more like the emotional, like dang, like maybe like going through like a nostalgia trip. That's more like dang, or I feel like the feels. But like in Last of Us, where like the daughter dies, it's like
Oh,
dang.
okay, yeah.
Like that's when I was like, man, like I think it's I don't ever felt like I don't know how to word it, like video games for some reason like it's still like there's a little disconnect
Yeah,
for
the
me
disconnect
there.
for you. Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I think it's because like I'm playing them and I get frustrated. Like no, like like remember when like Soap died and all that, like in Modern
Yeah.
Warfare, like I
Okay.
think I
Yeah.
was like 3. There was like I didn't cry, but I was like, dang it, man, like no, save him. Like I get more like that. Like I wanted to save him rather than like emotionally like.
Totally
Yeah.
different. Very interesting. Okay. The more you know. I kind of forgot about that mystery dungeon thing.
Yeah, that was the only thing that like sitting there at like 12 years old, I was like, dang. Like I don't know, the Pokemon games I think are the one like
Pokemon
when it comes
movie,
to that.
Pokemon game. Yeah. Now we just get
Or
trash.
well, I guess like we have the remakes coming out and all that stuff, so we'll see how those fare up.
All right. Should we talk
But
about the
yeah.
elephant in the room?
Oh yeah, the
The Warner Brothers
multiverse game.
video game.
So okay. So anyways, the multiverse game. It's like Warner Brothers multiverse game that they're going to essentially, from the rumors, they're gonna just like pick characters from their like IPs and properties, and so I guess Gandalf, Batman, and Shaggy can like duke it out. I think that this is interesting timing though. Nickelodeon came out to reasonable success, I would say, and then Smash is ending. I should say Smash is ending in terms of support and announcement of new characters, because Smash has been like the de facto king of the platformer fighting genre, which for a while was kind of like the only platform fighting game that like got any like actual traction. So it's very interesting to see that like, hey, we're doing our own platform fighter, because they had the PlayStation platform fighting game that didn't get as well as the reception as like something like Smash or the Nickelodeon game. So it's interesting that we've seen like this revitalization in or like interest in like the
The
genre.
king is dead. The king is dead. That's literally what it is.
It's like the king is dead. Now we got to get those players that. I mean, Smash is gonna go on and on and on. Like people have been playing Melee for this long. I don't think Ultimate is like gonna just die. But who
I
knows?
don't know, man.
It's like one of those things like Smash carries like so much like weight. Like
Yeah.
I don't think, but I don't know. Like I'm not in general. I'm not a big fan of the idea of like Shaggy going around beating up. What did I say? Shaggy going Super Saiyan beating up Batman.
Yeah, Ultra
Like,
Instinct or whatever. It's like
Yeah, like
solely okay.
you know.
The reason I'm having so much resistance with this is because literally, the director or whatever his name is, Jeff Grubb. Yeah, because I have it right here. Yeah, because
NetherRealm was in developing this,
it's
right?
confirmed. No, and they're literally saying that based on the meme is the whole reason, because of that meme with Ultra Instinct Shaggy, this game has been into existence.
Don't let your dreams be memes. Or is it don't let your memes just be dreams? Whatever the stupid.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't think NetherRealm's making it.
No, it says NetherRealm's not going to make it. It's their own studio or something. So
Okay, yeah, because it says debunked.
Okay, like if NetherRealm was making it, I'd have more faith in it.
Yeah.
If NetherRealm was making it,
the Lord,
it would be
they're
at least a
nuts.
competent fighter, because the Mortal Kombat games, I wouldn't say they've ever put out like a bad Mortal Kombat. They've always just at least at minimum been competent in the last like decade or so, from what I remember. Like they're always like good. Like it's Mortal Kombat. So like people are saying like Shaggy, Gandalf, Tom and Jerry, Fred Flintstone, Mad Max,
and Johnny
Bravo. Okay, so I think in terms of like blending that together, no way. I think it's gonna be unless they use like a cartoony version of Batman, not like a modern
Robert
like, they
Pattinson.
get Robert Pattinson voice for the Batman.
I'm
That'd be
vengeance,
hilarious.
snaps the neck of Shaggy.
Yeah.
Or whoever.
Like if they do kind of like an animated version of Batman, I think it wouldn't be so bad. Like it would look kind of like a little weird, but if they kind of go for like that general cartoon style that like maybe Scooby-Doo has or something like that Hanna-Barbera like animation style, that's fine.
I don't know, man.
I am curious to see this, because like you have Nickelodeon, which in its own right could have just been a complete disaster. So
Yeah, but that game's on fire right now.
yeah, so it'll be interesting because now you're gonna have a lot of competitors in this
That's
space.
what I'm saying. I hate when like one like triumphant king is all of a sudden finished, like Smash. All of a sudden there's
Hmm.
Nickelodeon. All of a sudden Warner Brothers. All of a sudden XYZ's coming out. It's like I don't know. I don't like when games like, oh, let's do what they're doing and become millionaires. I don't. Nope.
I think also too, like because like Warner Brother games, they haven't been too, I think, too active
Mm-mm.
in terms of like game making, like games that
Exactly.
they've dropped. I don't remember like the last thing they've dropped in like recent times, like in recent memory, I should say. And so I think essentially what we have here is kind of like a cash grab. I guess
Yeah.
it's everything's a cash grab here. I
They're like
guess.
money. Okay. I was like,
Like I hate it because like as someone who's trying to learn how to make games, it's like the people are just like, let's just make a game. Like no, that's not how that works. Like it doesn't just like magically appear. Like it's not like, oh,
oh.
code this little if statement and everything is like done. Like no, no. It's like it's hard like tweaking the characters, getting them to feel right. Like it's so difficult. Like just changing like the values like from like point one to point two adds like a totally different like effect and feel. Like it's crazy, man. Like just the most
I
minuscule
just
thing, like just a gameplay, and like I'm I'm optimistic in the sense like maybe it's just so crazy, so wacky that it's fun to play just because of its ridiculousness. But in terms of being like, I'm assuming they would want to make it a serious enough fighting game, in terms of like competition,
Mhm.
because I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how
but
a Shaggy meme, and the worst part is, my brother has been saying they're gonna make a fighting game with Shaggy in it, and
he
we're like,
can't be
no,
right.
no, no. No. And he's like, no, they're gonna make Shaggy. He's gonna be able to fight, and he's gonna be like the god amongst men, or like and stuff like that. And it's like, and we're like, no, no, no. And so look at that. My brother was right. They're
I mean, you do know that he appeared on the intro for Mortal Kombat, right? Shaggy on the movie.
I don't think I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I'm so weirded out like how they embrace that meme so hard. Kind of a dead meme now at this point. But I think definitely its
and that meme that
influence.
game's gonna become a meme and hopefully it dies out instantly.
The game's gonna be a meme because everyone's gonna play Shaggy, and then everyone's gonna look for the infinites, and then it's not gonna be fun. Or the game's actually gonna be half decently balanced, and then it's gonna be fun
Plot
to
twist:
play.
Shaggy's not even in the game.
That would piss people off because
I
that's
would
the
love
whole
that
reason. People are
so
literally just gonna buy the
much.
game for Shaggy
DLC character, $20.
because of the.
I'm
Oh
calling
my
you right
gosh,
now.
no!
Please
Don't even say it.
do it.
But yeah, like it's just interesting to see how powerful memes have become because someone was like, "Oh yeah, that'd be cool. We do Shaggy as like a meme,
What
and we put
about
him in a
Gandalf
fighting
and
game."
Batman?
Yeah, and it's like I don't know who they're gonna throw in. They have a lot of properties they could choose
Yeah.
from.
Bugs Bunny against Superman.
Yeah, like I think if they went maybe for like a Looney Tunes fighting game, that maybe have been a bit better. But I just don't know. Like
I just
I
hope
don't
this doesn't
know.
slow down NetherRealm somehow, some way.
No, they're not developing it, and that has me worried and relieved at the same time because they're not going to waste resources and talented developers to make this game. But who knows?
Yeah.
It's like who
Because I
knows?
swear, if NetherRealm says, "Oh yeah, this secret project, it was actually this," I hate them forever. Injustice sucks,
No.
and I'm not watching
Yeah,
your
that's
movie.
the thing. The Injustice. Would you rather just get a straight up another Injustice
Yeah.
game?
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, as long as it's a little bit better, give me that customization back for free. Keyword free, and then I'll be good.
Keyword, don't charge me $60 for a feature that should already be in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Sheesh. I want all my games to be free. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Minecraft,
But
free.
that game that you've been working on for the past 5 years, Blood,
Yeah,
Sweat, and
free.
Tears,
Yeah.
not free.
You have to pay people?
It's-
I don't care.
And then
That's
I'll
not my
review bomb it
problem.
right after because you didn't give me this for free.
Yeah.
No,
This
but
is all jokes,
I
by
just,
the way.
Yeah, we're just joking.
We
But
love you,
it's
Netherlands.
Ultra Instinct Shaggy canon. So
No.
let's do it.
I I just
So
hate this
it's-
so much. I have nothing nice to say about this.
My brother is gonna be so excited. He's gonna want to
Just
play
don't
this
tell him.
game so much.
Just don't tell him.
It's like I already said it in our Discord, man. So it's too late.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be the
But
first
yeah.
thing he says. Watch when I see him. I can't like why I don't know why.
Oh, gee, I knew it on Halloween. Yeah, I don't know why they made this game, but I don't know. I think we'll leave it here on this note right
Yeah.
here. Just the very
Sadness.
sheer confusion that we have at what are they doing? Like,
They
I
can
mean,
see the
they're just-
disappointment in my face.
it's just, again, all of entertainment is just like either they're rehashing things already done, like Dune already had a movie, they're just remaking it. Well, I think Dune movie was good. I feel like they should have just tried to go for something unique. I don't know. I think I would have like appreciated the movie more if it was like not a remake. I think that's what it is. I'm kind of tired of remakes in games that like just same thing. Like we're just kind of rehashing old ideas here.
You should watch The Last Duel.
I might watch that one. That one looked kind of interesting. I thought that was gonna be like some like 100 Years War thing.
Mm-hmm. That was a good movie.
And so I was like, oh no, it's not. Like I was kind of like trying to figure out like, but I guess it's kind of like some weird story about how it was the last duel that was like allowed to take place or something like that. I don't know.
Just
but I'll
know
probably-
Adam Driver's a 2-pump champ. That's all I'm gonna say. You'll understand that reference if you see the movie.
Oh man. Oh, you know he made the good soup meme?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
What?
Because I didn't watch that movie that he was like good soup.
I
And
thought I
was
just
like,
talked to. Didn't I just talk about this too, or was that Mercedes?
I think that was
Mercedes was
'cause
the
that
one that told me that that's where the meme came from, and I did agree that I was like, oh, okay, but you don't know
And the
that.
same. Yeah, I didn't know that. It's the same thing. Like I was watching Adventure Time, and there's the same meme, like where I think it's Marceline, where she's like, "Oh, you don't like that, or you just don't like me," and I was like, "Wait a second!" I started laughing hysterically. I'm like, "That's an Adventure Time like
Oh
quote,"
my
and like someone took that out. I'm like, I can't believe I didn't. Like, I'm like on season 3 or whatever, and it like. And I've heard the meme again before, and I'm like, I'm so bad at like recognizing voice actors. And I'm just like, dang, that's kind of funny that was a reference. But anyways, yeah, we have a lot of interesting things. We still stream, that's mainly be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, always around like about 4 p.m. Pacific time. That's kind of what we've been doing. So if you enjoy the podcast, feel free to like, follow, do all the fancy stuff that we
Mumbo-jumbos.
always tell you to guys do. Yeah, mumbo jumbos. Feel free, to drop a comment or jump into one of our streams and tell us your opinion on like what you thought of Dune and the movies that are coming out. What are your thoughts on being Ultra Instinct Shaggy in a game?
I'll ban you from the
So,
chat
yeah.
to say anything about that.
Come in, do like a Shaggy emo or something like.
We'll make that. That'll be our first. That'll be our first emo because we're almost affiliate.
Yeah, so so we'd a sense, of course, we are almost affiliate. We'd always appreciate if you guys would follow us on our Twitch, which is twitch.tv/pastthepopculture. And we'd always appreciate if you guys, spread this around and everything if you enjoy. So anyways, we're going to be signing off. I'm Ricky, and with your co-host, Mr. Fenn. All right, appreciate it. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Peace.